guys, LQ here with the LQ review. You know what? I've took a couple days off. I've just kind of been taking a little vacation time with my family before school starts back up. Me being a teacher, my wife being a teacher, my kids being in school. You know, this time is precious time. So I just took some time off and said, let's spend some time with the kids, spend some time with the family before school starts back up. But now it's time to start talking about some movies, some TV, some comic books, some video games, and all that good stuff that we love to talk about. What I want to talk about today, The Boys. Yes, I binge watched The Boys yesterday. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop watching it. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. Now, I was not very familiar with the comic book. I bought a blind lot about 2 years ago. And in the blind lot was the Hero-gasm miniseries. The Boys Hero-gasm, there was like four, I think it was four. But that miniseries was included in the blind lot. So I read it, and my gosh, it was... That's just what I'll say. It was. A very vulgar comic book. I wasn't prepared for just how vulgar it was. But that being said, I didn't really know a lot of what was going on because I hadn't read the main title. So I went into this TV series pretty blind on what to expect. I mean, I knew what to expect as far as tone was concerned and as far as content was concerned, but I didn't really know what to expect as far as story was concerned. And I was just taken aback by how much it resonated. You know, this is, in today's superhero culture, there's superhero movies, superhero TV shows, superhero video games. I read the comic books, you know, so my life has a lot of superhero content in it. And to have it deconstructed in this way, you know, a lot of questions were answered about superheroes, like you know, how do they make their living? How do they get paid? How do they, you know, not everybody in the comic books is Clark Kent and they have a job, or they're Bruce Wayne and they're millionaires. A lot of the heroes in the comics are full-time heroes without jobs. What do they do? And that's something that's kind of explored in this, and this explores other facets of superhero life, such as image, and how to keep public opinion up about superheroes. What happens if there's collateral damage? You know, a lot of that is explored here. And it's explored in such a way that superheroes are painted in a very poor light. And they should be. The way that they're depicted here, the storyline that's shown here, superheroes are depicted in very poor light. In fact, they're bad people. The vast majority of them, not all of them, but the vast majority of them are legitimately bad people. So first you have the Seven. The Seven is like the Justice League. Yeah, there's superheroes out there outside of the Seven, but being a member of the Seven is like hitting the big leagues, right? That's the goal if you're a superhero. And the Seven is, you got Homelander, which is the Superman character, and he is supposed to be the pure one, the conservative one, the one that stands for American values. Heck, he wears a American flag as his cape. He is the Superman character. And then you've got Black Noir, which is the Batman character. You've got A-Train, which is the Flash. And I love the subplot in this about him being the fastest man alive. How there's another hero that runs real fast who's come up and challenged him for the title of the fastest man alive, and they actually do it on a track. I'm a track coach, so I got a hoot out of that. So Homelander, Black Noir, A-Train, Queen Maeve, that's the Wonder Woman character. The Deep is the Aquaman character, and then you had what's his name? Translucent, who I don't know that he's necessarily based on any one character, but he can turn invisible, he can turn his skin into like tough, impenetrable diamonds, yada yada yada. And then the seventh one is a new hero called Starlight. And Starlight is kind of the one that we see this world through. We see the world of the Seven through Starlight, because she has these aspirations of being this great, pure hero, and she becomes disenfranchised with the Seven once she's on the inside and she sees what it's really about. First of all, she's basically raped by the Deep. And that's something that she has to reconcile early on, and then she has to reconcile her misconceptions of what she thought being a member of the Seven would be. So she's very much a woman empowerment character, and I really thought that was a great aspect to this character, but there was a lot more there than just being a female empowerment character. This was an avatar for us, if you will, for the audience. We saw the Seven through her eyes, and we saw how evil they were and how bad they were. In a lot of cases, we saw all the garbage that the Seven has to offer through her eyes. So as she became disenfranchised with them, we became disenfranchised with them. It was really brilliant the way they set it up. Elizabeth Shue plays the businesswoman who is kind of in charge of superhero image. And I thought it was really interesting how they don't go on patrol. They know in advance which crimes they're going to stop, because they work with the government, they work with law enforcement, this is a company that works with intelligence agencies to figure out where the crimes are going to be, so we can control the message. You know, it's all about controlling that message. If Homelander has to go stop a gang activity, for example, they want to be able to control that message. Okay, things got out of control. Homelander killed these guys. Why? What happened? We got to be able to control that, so public opinion stays high. But they're not even the main focus of this show. The main focus of the show is the boys. It's not called the Seven. It's called the boys. So Billy Butcher, played amazingly by Carl Urban. He lost his wife, and Homelander was involved in the loss of his wife. So he's got a vendetta against these heroes. His desire is to bring, not just these heroes in general, his desire is to bring Homelander down. The most powerful one, the Superman one. His desire is to bring Homelander down. There's another character that is kind of us also. Kind of the avatar for the audience. He's a very ordinary, very everyday person. And his name is Huey. And Huey he's in a long-term relationship with a girl named Robin. And let's just say that Robin is collateral damage. And she's collateral damage, and it's A-Train's fault. A-Train is... He has something that he's trying to do, and while A-Train is trying to do it, I don't want to get into too many spoilers here, but while A-Train is trying to do it, Robin is a casualty. So Huey wants to take down A-Train. So he connects with Carl Urban's character pretty early on. He also connects with Starlight pretty early on, and he actually gets into a romantic relationship with Starlight. And this opens the door for him being able to infiltrate the Seven. So it was really amazing the way that they set that piece of it up as well. And then you've got Frenchie, who's just a normal person who wants to take down Supes. That's what they call them, Supes. Heroes in general, not Homelander. Heroes in general, they call Supes. What is it? Mother's Milk. I think the MM is what they call him. The black guy who's a member of the Seven, or the boys, not the Seven, the boys. And then they end up having to recruit the female. And the female they find out that she has superpowers, and her superpowers are very reminiscent of Wolverine's superpowers. She's got the healing factor. She's got a past that she doesn't know a lot about. They're able to find out what her past is, and they learn that she was unwillingly a part of a terrorist organization. A terrorist organization that got their hands on this compound that creates superheroes, and the terrorists are now creating super terrorists. So that was a really interesting angle. As the boys are trying to take down these superheroes, are these superheroes going to be a necessity moving forward if the terrorists are creating super terrorists? That's the kind of stuff that we're getting into here. Not only are we getting into social topics, I mean, the one thing they touch on is homosexuality. They touch on some of the hypocrisy of Christianity. They touch on I'm telling you, if it's a relevant social issue right now, politics is all over this thing. If it's a relevant social issue, they're on it. And I think that's, like I said, I don't care if there's a message in TV shows or movies. I don't care if it's a conservative message. I don't care if it's a liberal message. Just as long as the message doesn't get in the way of the storytelling. And in this, the message does not get in the way of the storytelling, partially because they're deconstructing both sides of it. They're kind of pointing out some of the hypocrisy of liberalism, some of the hypocrisy of conservatism, some of the hypocrisy of organized religion, even some of the hypocrisy of what it means to be agnostic. It's all in there. So really interesting stuff, and just it sounds kind of scatterbrained, but it's not, because it's pointing out the fact that in our lives we're a little directionless. Again, we're looking at Starlight here as being the avatar for the people, the audience. And we're a little directionless, and we're looking for direction. We're looking for meaning, and we find that in a lot of different places. And the boys really highlighted some of that. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too much, but I don't think so. I really don't think I am. I think that this has a lot to say. Now, there were some things in it that I didn't like. First of all, I am a Christian. I wear that badge proudly. And oftentimes in Hollywood productions, you see Christians being depicted by people who honestly have no idea what Christianity really is. They think they do, because maybe they actually have seen some of these big rallies, and they see what's on the surface. But I'm telling you, how Christians are depicted in these movies and these TV shows, especially how they're depicted in The Boys, it's not an accurate depiction of Christianity. There's a part in this show where Starlight gets up and she talks about her confusion, and she talks about how she's become, how she believes in God, but she doesn't know, she doesn't really know what that means. And there were thousands and thousands of people there, and she got one applause, and that was by her boyfriend. This would have sparked conversation among the Christian community. There would have been some judgmental people. There would have been. There just would have been. I've been a Christian my whole life. I've seen my share of judgmental Christians. But she would have received a lot of support from the community as well. She would have received more support from the Christian community than judgment. I'm telling you, she would have. I've been a Christian long enough to know that she would have received more support than judgment. And this show depicted Christians as being very judgmental, and being very naive, and being just kind of rotten people. And make no mistake, there is that subsect of Christians who are judgmental. Absolutely. But they're not rotten people. Christians are by nature, Christians question things. They just do. I've questioned every aspect of my faith at one point or another. It's a process that Christians go through. So I don't know, I just found that whole scene to be a little disingenuous. The judgment that she received, she would have received a lot of support from that community in real life. So I just think that lots of times Christianity is written by people who don't have any idea what the actual community is like. Maybe they know what these big rallies look like from outsiders looking in, but as far as what the actual community looks and acts like, they have no idea. So I didn't really care for that. And that was a rather substantial part of this show. It was at least a full episode. It might have been a little more than that if I'm remembering. So not something that I cared for. The payoff. There's this big... We wanted to get from the way they was building this up, we wanted to finally get that confrontation between the boys and the Seven. We wanted the supervillains in the boys to take down the superheroes in the Seven. And really it's reversed. The boys are the heroes and the Seven is the villains. That's not how publicly it would have been seen, though. And we never really got that payoff. Yeah, there was a big confrontation between Homelander and Butcher at the end. I'm not going to say how it turns out, but there was a confrontation between Homelander and Butcher at the end. And there was no fight. And maybe it's just because the heroes would have demolished them, but there wasn't a confrontation. There wasn't a battle. There's a good scene between Huey and A-Train. A couple good scenes between Huey and A-Train, but you felt like this was all leading to a big conflict, and the conflict never happened. In fact, most of the boys' story was left resoundingly unresolved. The relationship between Huey and Starlight was left resoundingly unresolved, and the fate of the boys, we know that they were safe at the end, but we don't know what happened to them. Their storylines are still dangling out there. And to be honest with you, the storyline between Butcher and Homelander is very much dangling out there. I mean, you'll know when you see it. So clearly they have season 2 already in mind. It's already been greenlit. You know, season 2 is a guarantee to happen. But I would have liked a little more closure in season 1 because there was this big buildup that never happened. These are minor nitpicks, though, because this is a fantastic show. I cannot recommend this enough. This is right up there with Stranger Things 3 is the favorite thing I've seen all year. This, Stranger Things 3, Avengers Endgame. The best 3 things I've seen all year. I'm telling you guys, check out The Boys. If you don't have Amazon Prime, get your 7-day free trial, watch The Boys, and then cancel it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Check out The Boys. It's excellent. The Boys gets an A+. I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. What did you think of The Boys? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you for being here at the LQ Review, where we talk about all of the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later.